2,500 years ago, Prince Siddhartha Gautama set out from the foothills of the Himalayas in search of truth. After years of wandering, he arrived here in the lowlands of the Ganges River near the village of Bodh Gaya. He must have seen something like this. He sat down under a tree and found enlightenment. Since then, he is known as the Buddha, the Enlightened One. Buddhist world, this is sacred landscape. Pilgrims come from far away. Today, Bodh Gaya is still a village with a bustling market, rickshaws and beggars. The temple in the background, a so-called stupa, still marks the spot where the Buddha sat in meditation. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, called the Buddhist world to this place for the celebration of the Kalachakra initiation. This ceremony is held infrequently, roughly every 2 or 3 years at one chosen place. 500,000 pilgrims followed the call. It is the most eagerly awaited event for the faithful. At the base of the stupa stands a Bodhi tree, the tree of enlightenment. It is the 5th generation of that very tree. Monks gather under its branches to prepare themselves for the ceremonies. Kalachakra literally means wheel of time. It is a complex initiation rite with the aim of activating the seed of enlightenment which lays dormant within all living beings. Butter lamps symbolize this enlightenment. The central ritual revolves around the creation of a picture made of colored sand, a so-called sand mandala. It is a depiction of an inner landscape representing the wheel of time and being the abode of a Buddha with more than 700 deities or manifestations of the Buddha nature. It is so hard to comprehend that we turn to the Dalai Lama himself. The sand mandala is highly symbolic, very hard to understand for someone of Western culture. Do we have to understand it as a blueprint for a 3-dimensional structure? As if it was not just a flat surface, but...
Yeah, that's right. Then, of course, these paintings, mandala is a form of painting. Now, in this case, by sand. That actually, a reminder of our visualization. The actual mandala, at the, first you meditate on emptiness or shunya. Then that very mind which completely absorbs into the ultimate nature, now that become or transform into physical world. So this is a mandala in the form of mandala, and with deities, more than 700 20 or something. I can't remember now exact
Too
number.
complicated.
So all these deities at these different places, all this is symbolized of the particles of our body as well as cosmology, like that. So the main thing is visualization, not external mandala, but internal mandala, some visualization.
The color chakra is comprised of teachings, prayers, the building of the sand mandala, and the initiation itself. 500,000 of the faithful will join together for the next 10 days and 10 nights. These pilgrims have traveled from afar, from Nepal, from Bhutan, from the steppes of Mongolia, from Thailand and Sri Lanka. They've come thousands of miles on trucks, and many of the pilgrims from inner Tibet on foot. Some of them made the journey like this. The second day of the festival, we met this monk. He had traveled in prostrations more than 3,000 miles, all the way from Amdo province, far beyond the Tibetan Autonomous Republic. He explains that his voyage lasted over 3.5 years. He comes from such a remote area that his dialect had to be translated via two separate interpreters. Along the way there was heat and hunger and thirst. Word would spread, and sometimes nomads approached and gave him water and something to eat. He does not want to make a big fuss about this. Yes, bones on his hands had grown nodes, even though he protected them with wooden clogs. And from touching the ground a couple of million times, a wound on his forehead has not completely healed yet. What about the distance? Yes, he knows how big the earth is. How big? He has measured it with his body, head to toe, he knows. He moved on, and a deep serenity has come upon him since he has arrived at the tree of enlightenment. There is a specially enclosed area set aside for the creation of the sand mandala. This is the surface on which it will be laid out. First, the empty space has to be consecrated. Just outside is the site for teachings, prayers, and instructions. High-ranking lamas preside over it. The Dalai Lama was expected to lead the teachings, but due to illness, he was unable to attend in the first days. the stupa, only a quarter of a mile away. This column attracts pilgrims who believe it gives off healing powers. At the stupa, pilgrims circle the inner sanctum. Others are sunk in meditation and prayer. Work on the sand mandala has begun. Normally, the Dalai Lama would lay out the first line, but as his illness continues, very learned monks have to proceed without him. The very center of the pattern is the wheel of time. To guide the monks through this labyrinthic design, there's a whole library of blueprint instructions.
Here is 8 monks, because one is tired and then others comes help.
You work around the clock?
Yes.
24 hours?
Not 24 hours, but started in the morning 6 until to midnight.
And when you close your eyes, do you still see the mandala when you work so concentrated? Can you see it with your closed eyes?
Yes, I can see it. I can't show you how it's vision, you know. It's thinking.
Facing the tree of enlightenment, these faithful perform prostrations. Their goal is to do it 100,000 times, which will eventually take the fittest ones about 6 weeks. Under the Tree of Enlightenment, one of the learned monks is granted the privilege of publicly defending his doctoral thesis in Buddhist philosophy. He is the one seated to the right. The debate unfolds in the traditional style of Tibetan monastic life. This argument is about the two aspects of reality, the functional reality of our everyday life and emptiness, which is considered the final reality according to Buddha's teachings. By lunch break, the debate remains inconclusive. In the sprawling tent cities around Bodh Gaya, monks do kitchen chores for their brethren. They take turns in these duties. As night falls, the debate is still raging on. Since the mandala forms a kind of map of an inner landscape, a vision of a sacred cosmography, we were intrigued to visit the holiest of physical landscapes for Buddhists, Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash is located in western Tibet, and it is equally venerated by Hindus who consider it to be the seat of Lord Shiva. Long before Buddhism, adherents of the shamanistic Bön religion of Tibet venerated the mountain and still do so to this day. Both the mountain and the mandala are considered the abode of a Buddha. Kailash stands opposite Lake Manasarova, considered to be itself sacred as a female consort of the mountain. The Tibetans call it Kangring Poche, which means precious jewel of the snows. All year long, pilgrims flock to the mountain. Their numbers increase dramatically at the full moon, which falls at the end of May, as this marks the birthday of the Buddha in the time of his enlightenment. Every 12 years, during the Year of the Horse, staggering multitudes of pilgrims assemble at the sacred ground. This is the first prostration point where Mount Kailash comes into view. Without the comforts of Western travelers, they arrive on open trucks. With primitive bellows, they kindle fires of dry yak dung and prepare their tea. They add barley flour and rancid yak butter. That's basically all the food they take with them. Having finally arrived at the base of the mountain, they pitch camp. The tents are considered a luxury, as most of the pilgrims will sleep under open sky, wrapped only in their coats against the freezing night. Later, they proceed to the Sakadava festival. The culmination of this festival is the erection of a towering mast, which will hold strings of prayer flags. With the mast up, the pilgrims hasten to start the Kora, the circumambulation of Mount Kailash. They trek around its entire base, a voyage of 52 kilometers. The Kora will take them 3 days at an average altitude of some 18,000 feet. On the second day, they must cross a pass which is almost 19,000 feet high. Each year, a few pilgrims from the Indian lowlands, not properly acclimatized to such altitudes, will eventually die. This year, during the Year of the Horse, the faithful are rewarded for their toil by 12 times the respite of bad karma for the benefit of a future reborn life. The trek is made in a clockwise direction. Members of the ancient Bön religion can be made out easily. They move counterclockwise against the stream. The center of the mandala brings to mind the configuration of Mount Kailash, believed by many to be the center of the physical and spiritual universe. We asked the Dalai Lama for his views on this.
But then is a question whether Mount Kailash is the center of the universe. That I don't know. Each country, they believe, you see, their own country is the center of the whole universe. I think that's very true. I think ultimately, we ourselves, one individual, that is the center of the universe. So for me, this place, it's the center of the universe because the conception of the whole universe come from here. So therefore, I'm the center of the universe. So similarly, your case, you are the center of the whole universe.
Thank you. It makes me feel very good. I shouldn't tell my wife. Your Holiness, what would your dream be of an ideal world?
Well, my wish or my vision of the world, of course, more prosperity, more equal. That means less sort of gap, rich and poor, and all sort of environment clean, pure, And then people, mainly human beings in this planet, truly live as a genuine brothers, sisters. All religion carry same message of love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, contentment, and self-discipline. I think we need these qualities of a human being, irrespective whether you are believer or non-believer, because these are the source of our happy life.
Where do you come from, if I may ask?
I'm from Mongolia.
And why do you release the birds here?
Because all living beings are equal. All creatures have a right to become a Buddha. But to become a Buddha, you have to be free. Omani Badmehu.
These cauldrons contain the tea for the afternoon tea break of the monks. Eager young monks scramble for the honor to serve their group of elders first. These are the preparations for the long life ceremony. Gifts will be distributed to the faithful, but most desirable will be to get one of the consecrated barley dumplings, which hold the promise of a long and happy life. Inside the enclosed area, the completed sand mandala has been put on public display. It has to be protected under glass, as touching it or even breathing on it could easily destroy it. As the Dalai Lama has not yet made a public appearance, rumors are spreading about the gravity of his illness. An announcement is made that His Holiness will address the pilgrims the next morning. Starting at 3 a.m., hundreds of thousands line up. The queues stretch miles off into the distance. Prayer shawls are tossed to the front to be near his presence. In Tibetan, the Dalai Lama explains that due to his acute illness, it would be impossible for him to preside over the many continuous hours required to complete the rituals of the Kalachakra initiation. The main ceremonies will have to be cancelled. He calls the pilgrims to reconvene back here in a year's time. However, the next Kalachakra, long planned for Graz, Austria, will take place during the fall as scheduled. Though the cancellation hardly comes as a surprise, the pilgrims appear to be stunned. This very night, most of them will hold a prayer vigil till dawn for the Dalai Lama's health. He seems to want to say something more, but in his anguish at disappointing so many who have traveled so far, he falls silent. Graz, Austria is home to a small but quite active Buddhist community which made a great effort to host the Kalachakra initiation. The Dalai Lama has rarely consented to transplanting such an important ceremony to the West. But while he has expressed concerns about abandoning the religion of one's traditional culture, he does advocate studying and understanding other religions. Only through this, he believes, can lasting peace be achieved on this planet. staging place is the recently inaugurated convention hall with a capacity of some 8,000. Though jet-lagged, the Dalai Lama is back at his genial best. Unpredictable and a constant worry for a large team of bodyguards, he instantly sets out to embrace the crowd.
Oh, yes.
No, for you, for you.
Oh,
for
good,
you.
thank you.
What the Dalai Lama was unable to do in Bodh Gaya, he performs here, laying out the first lines of the sand mandala pattern. It will be a mathematically exact replica of the design used in India. The hall falls silent. Here, the Dalai Lama exercises his full role in leading prayers, teachings, and the creation of the mandala. The Dalai Lama takes his place on his throne for the first of many days of teachings. This man caught our eye as he had been allowed into the seating area of high-ranking lamas. We learned that his name was Takna Jigme Sangpo. A former school teacher, he had been a political prisoner for many years, recently released due to international pressure. Only 2 days ago, he had set eyes on the Dalai Lama for the first time in his life. How many years did he spend in jail, all in all?
Until this year, 37 years.
And he kept accumulating prison term after prison term because he was still demanding free Tibet.
Tene ki yang ger yang ne yang tu per ran sen yin ne yang kyang rimbo tene chong rebe.
Zonga nalo tene get timani kyoyin per ran sen yes.
Actually, he shouted twice in the jail, and that cost him altogether 37 years.
Kainsna
Twice.
dawa jeju jebdung git nalo per tinde sun language subre dikol nganzo tesel subrwa zonga na ya gudu gante da zombo so ya lanje nyeba tu pepe lega pepe ma chen su chi re ne pepe ge ju pepe ma chen su she re xia wu nganzo ya ta re lanje demil ten zuba lo ngo che wu so ne ge jo re.
In 87, he expressed the view that if Tibetans don't do their Tibetan activities, if Tibetans don't speak their language, who is going to do so? So he inspired all of the prisoners to stand up and tell that in the face of the Chinese, and he was the main one. So then his sentence again got extended.
Yeah, another 15 years or so, all in all, until he was freed. Is that correct?
Dine guju goji lo ane dawa dine lebre chiji mitne dawa le do gana ane ge ge jang kangbe nan ju sha yo ane ya
kangbe nan ne jo kangbe chilo ne
kangbe nan ju sha lo kangbe ju shi do ko la ge gun dine jo dina ge ge je man ya no to mo.
In 94, there was this delegation of foreigners came. He was put in a room so that he would not appear, but he managed to shout through a hole in the wall, again, free Tibet. And for shouting through a wall to those people, he got another extension.
How many years? What does an extension mean?
Yes, sure. T'as l'occasion de faire garçon. Qui dit j'aime des gauches gauchers. So first time he shouted, he got 5 years extra. Second time he shouted, he got 8 years extra. Now he has to have a walking stick, because any hole, any thing's elevation, he's not used to any difference in the ground, which always level in the jail. So because he could hardly go for a walk anywhere, so the whole, when he starts walking around, it's like a foreign world for him. Only when he came out of jail, he saw people speaking in this mobile phone. He said, how does that work? How can you call without any wires? And so they explained him, it goes to the sky, bounce on a star, and come back. So he understood the idea.
And his eyesight is not very good. How did it happen that he saw the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, for the first time? Please describe it to us.
So, there is a tradition in Tibet that it's not polite to wear glasses. So, by respect, he first took them out. But he could not see very well His Holiness, which he had been hoping to see all his life. So he asked permission. May I put my glass to see you? And of course, His Holiness said yes. And suddenly, he saw clearly His Holiness in front of him.
And what kind of a man did he see? It must have been strange.
He saw him like a very youthful. That was his first impression.
Like a 20 years old man. Yes.
Of course.
Before the initiation, the Dalai Lama sets in motion a series of rituals. In the first of these, an oracle will predict the auspiciousness of the Kala Chakra. The deciding indicator of this oracle will be the direction in which the stick is going to fall. The only Western layman having the privilege of acting in this oracle is Manfred Klell, the head of the Graz Buddhist group. Another preparatory ritual involves kusha grass from India. Those who undergo the initiation will rest their heads upon it during the night, and their dreams will be stored in it. After many more rites, the protective covering of the sand mandala is finally unfurled. Now, the Dalai Lama will spiritually guide the initiates into its sacred landscape. The faithful don symbolic ribbons to show that, up till now, their minds have been blind. Some of them also put seeds as a symbol of an activation of consciousness on their heads. What will follow now will be many hours of meditation and purification of the mind as they are led into a higher state of consciousness.
Mani mani mamanaye soha, 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 mani mani mamanaye soha. Chanchu Chimso Rinpoche ma kepa namke kyoche kepa nyamba meba tango negon tu perwar sho. Chanchu Chimso Rinpoche ma kepa nyamba meba yangon negon tu perwar sho. Chanchu Chimso Rinpoche ma kepa nyamba meba yangon negon tu perwar sho.
A culminating spiritual event, invisible for a camera, thus comes to an end. What remains is the destruction of the mandala by the Dalai Lama. To show the impermanence of all things created, the sand of the mandala will be thrown into the Mur River, where it will flow out into the world as a blessing. With the sand mandala dispersed and the Dalai Lama already out of the country, a lonesome bodyguard remains on duty, apparently not called off his post. Or does he stay on as a metaphor of the Buddhist concept of emptiness, protecting no one from not much of a crowd? Back in time in Bodh Gaya, a similar image. 400,000 empty pillows. And then there was one, still sunk in prayer. Is he praying for us? Has he reached the state of enlightenment? And then, as a nocturnal animal creeps from its crag, a thought creeps into mind. Could it be that he marks the very site where the universe has its center?